My first question about the Constitution is this. Is liberating and protecting foreigners a proper function of the federal government according to the Constitution?
Well, in terms of immigration policy, the courts have been divided on this. I think that what President Obama's done in saying that I'm granting...
Let me interrupt you a second.
Yeah.
I wasn't talking about immigration. I'm saying liberating and protecting foreigners. In other words, invading other countries with the pretext of liberating them and protecting them. Is that a proper function of the federal government?
When you say a proper function, it can be a proper function if Congress approves a declaration of war. The problem is that most presidents know that Congress won't declare war, and members of Congress don't want to own that decision. And so in the past they've allowed for these ridiculous resolutions where after a war goes south, members come back as they did with Iraq and Afghanistan and say, well, we never imagined, we were never told. That's because they avoided a declaration of war. If you clearly, it's within our system to declare war. But what we're doing in our system, and this has been a problem for many decades, is that we've evaded very clear language about declarations of war, and that has increased these foreign entanglements. And that is what the framers wanted to avoid. The framers understood that there would be times when we go to war. They didn't specify the conditions under which we went to war. They only specified the process for which we went to war. And that process is very demanding. Politicians have essentially taken that offline. And so what has happened? Exactly what the framers thought would happen. We are constantly getting involved in military conflicts.
Is it one of the enumerated powers in Article 1, Section 8 to go to war based on the pretext of protecting and liberating foreigners?
Well, the article doesn't talk about the rationale or reason. It allows for a declaration of war.
In the common defense of the states.
It does, but that's a subject.
If it's not, well, why?
But that's a question that is subject to what we consider to be in defense. Yes, in defense of the United States.
Don't you have to be attacked in order to defend yourself?
Not necessarily.
Or about to be attacked?
Not necessarily, but the thing is...
What does it mean to defend yourself?
That's something that's the reason we have to have a declaration of war, so we can have this debate. I would probably agree with you in the vast majority of situations where we have used military force. I would probably agree with you that that was a bad idea. But the framers didn't specify exactly what we would consider to be an act of defense of the United States. What they did is they specified how we made that decision, and that's what we've lost.
Well, but defense has a meaning, that word. It means that you are being attacked. So
I'm telling you that's not out. I don't think that the framers...
You don't think that defense...
I don't think the framers know that.
I can claim that I can just punch you now and say I was defending myself?
No, it's just that the framers did not define that term. And, so...
Because there's a clear meaning to it. It means that you are not the aggressor. Somebody else is aggressing you and you're defending yourself.
I'm just telling you that that's the general view of the vast majority of constitutional scholars, is that it's the process they specified, not the reason. But
it does say in the common defense.
I understand it.
And that's the only basis for war in the Constitution.
I understand
no other language.
Your point.
So wouldn't it stand to reason that if we aren't being attacked, then we're not defending ourselves, or they're not an imminent threat? What it stands to reason
is that's a very good argument against us getting involved in a war, but that is a matter left up to us as the people through our representatives. And I would probably agree with you in many of those circumstances. But if you're asking me, do I believe that there is a finite definition, the answer is no, I don't believe that.
So you don't think it has a clear meaning, the word defense?
Well, I think it has. I think the meaning to me is obvious in the sense that I don't believe we should be involved in many of these wars. But I'm not going to say, for those on the other side, that they're clearly locked into the language.
What about in a personal level, self-defense? Say you kill somebody when...
I understand, but I've answered you that...
Okay, would that have a clear meaning in that case?
It does, but the thing is, when you look at the language of the framers and how they came up with that, I don't believe it would support a narrow definition like the one you're suggesting. I think that they relied entirely on that process for allowing these arguments to be made.
Do you think it was proper for us to go to war in Iraq?
I opposed the war in Iraq. I don't think it was a good idea, and I opposed it then, and I oppose it now.
They hadn't attacked us, right?
Right. No, I
so
agree.
we weren't defending ourselves. And then the other reason that was used was that we were liberating and protecting
No,
foreigners.
you're singing to the choir here. I agree.
So liberating and protecting foreigners has never been a
yes, but
proper
that's
function.
something that we might agree on. But I can't say that's a matter of constitutional law. I should go ahead and say these people have been waiting. So.
Okay. Well, Professor, it was very nice getting your
Pleasure.
take on the Constitution, and
Thank
I
you.
appreciate your interview.
It's my pleasure. I appreciate it.
Bye-bye.